he's with an organization called North Moto. Also, the Moto Medic crew. And they do a lot of off-road stuff, like some really crazy off-road stuff. Tell us a little bit about the ice roads and why you love riding up here.
Yeah, so most of us that live in the region, we have 6 months of winter, and we just so happen to have about 1,000 kilometers of ice road just outside of town. So for the last 5 years, we've been riding from Fort McMurray to Fort Smith, Alberta on the ice road. It's about 500 kilometers each way, and it's actually the only way you can travel the south end of the Wood Buffalo National Park in the winter. So it's pretty cool, something for us to do, give everyone an excuse to get their bike out on the trails, and something very different that not many people get a chance to do. For the few individuals that are looking for something different, to have an awesome picture on the wall, to tell stories, to have experiences that they can only have usually up here with us, is something pretty neat. Fort McMurray has the Richardson backcountry, which is about 100 kilometers to 150 kilometers north of McMurray, where it's natural sand dunes. So again, I really enjoy riding Mexico, but I bug my buddies down there that we ride more sand in Fort McMurray than we do in Mexico, because it's 100 kilometers in each way of kind of bottomless sugar sand. So it's a good time, and again, a pretty neat experience if you're up for kind of pushing it in the backcountry to go check out.
Now, all of those things sound great, but they're dangerous. Every motorsport has a certain element of danger, or none of us would love doing it. Okay? So, part of enjoyment of motorcycling is also the planning and preparation, and hence in comes Moto Medic.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I tell a lot of people is like, I'm by no means an expert at any of this. I'm just an enthusiast that want to pass it on to my kids and friends and anyone else that's willing to look into it. And it's kind of about the long game. So again, if you ride above your pay grade, if you don't listen to good advice, it'll come back and hurt you. And that's kind of where, a good friend that got me into the medic side of riding kind of said, you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. So part of the solution is having your bike prepped, having appropriate riding gear, bringing the essentials that you need. Mm-hmm. Don't weight yourself down with unnecessary stuff, but at the same time, go and make sure you ride home that day. So that's our big part of it with the Ride North Moto and the Moto Medics.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about this sport, is that it also allows people to start their children really young, to get them engaged with what they do.
Yeah, and my kids are no different. I mean, they've been on Strider bikes and bicycles since they could walk. They're transitioning now into riding dirt bikes. And again, if you look at the North American and even the global statistics, off-road is the fastest growing market, because you can get out with your family, you can get out and explore new areas that not everybody is in, and it's, again, a great way to spend a weekend or a summer vacation.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one. How can people find out more about Ride North Moto and about the Moto Medics?
So Ride North Moto has Facebook and Instagram accounts. They're easy to find, as well as we have a website that's online, and you can also search it on YouTube. There's a couple good videos from our previous events. We're very fortunate that someone that came on board early, a good friend out of Edmonton, Blake and his wife run a YouTube channel called Range Road Moto.
Right on.
So they did an exceptional job. His film was featured at the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival. It was picked up by the Dubai Motorcycle Film Festival, and it was really great because he helped us showcase what's in our region.
Perfect. On that note, I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to next year, because Billy, your partner, promised me that he would take this Virgin in the side-by-side.
He will get you to the sand dunes. Billy does keep his promises, and if anything, it gives you something to harass him over the next 6 months.
You may be from Alberta, but have you really seen Alberta? With its vast vistas and stunning locale, get acquainted with what Alberta has to offer by experiencing Alberta through the eyes of a tourist.
My name is Billy Beauchesne with the Ride North Moto organization. So I'm actually chosen to be the president of that. So Mike Haberoth is vice president. And so it's a group of motorcycle enthusiasts that are looking to promote safe and pretty much promote safe motorcycle off-road riding, and to try to showcase some of the the terrain that we have up here. There's lots of different things to do up here, lots of different areas to ride up here. And so we're actually partnered with the Hero Foundation. So that is the helicopter paramedic company. And so this is actually the first year that we are now a registered nonprofit organization. So that happened there, I think it's back in June, we got that all set up. So right now we're just in the mix of getting that all set up to be a nonprofit organization.
And that's wonderful. So when you say Ride North, what do you define as Ride North?
So Ride North is, I would say, it would be northern Alberta. So pretty much everything from Fort McMurray north. So there's a lot of land up here that's really untouched, that people have really no idea what we have up here. Like we talk about, Six Lakes and the Sand Road and the dunes and that kind of stuff. So to get that riding anywhere else, in Canada, it's very hard to come across. So we have a lot of interesting terrain that would attract a lot of people if they realized what we had up here to offer.
So let's talk about that terrain a little bit. I'm an on-road rider. I would love to experience the dunes. From the pictures that I've seen of that place, I would love to go see 300 kilometers of sand. I think that would be just the coolest thing, to see a mini Sahara forest, or Sahara desert, right here in the heart of the north. But I've been told that beyond sand, you guys have some other amazing terrain.
Yes, there is, yep.
So let's cough up a bit.
The problem we have up here is also too is a lot of the muskeg. So you have to stay out in the muskeg areas because you can't really ride at all in the muskeg. You're just going to get stuck. So we stick to riding on pretty much on the sand road up north. So when you're riding in the sand, it's a lot more difficult, right? So a lot of people don't realize, but you have to keep all your weight on the very back of the bike. And so anytime you let off the throttle, your front end is going to go down, it's going to wash, right? So you kind of have to pick and choose where you're going to slow down, where you're going to stop, that kind of stuff, right? So it is a little tricky to get used to, but it shouldn't really discourage people, right? So,
well, if you're an adventure rider, you're coming here to explore. You're coming here to challenge yourself. That is part of the adventure mentality, correct?
Correct, yes.
It's man, woman, person, and machine against the elements, against the terrain, and your job as an adventure rider is literally to seek that adventure that is going to challenge your skill level.
Exactly. Yes.
And that's where Moto Medic comes in.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that too, because I think all of it plays together.
Yeah. So Moto Medic is the company that, the part of the nonprofit there that Mike Haberoth started. So what that is, it's a group of paramedics that go around and then they support different events. So we go to a lot of different rallies, that kind of stuff. So we do rallies in BC and all over the place. And a lot of time you're riding an off-road terrain, right? There's good risk that you could fall down, hurt yourself, right? So everybody always wondered, what's going to happen if I injured myself. So Moto Medic is a group of, I'm not sure exactly the number of guys, but for instance, last year we had a Wanduro event, which was an off-road rally in Invermere. And I think there's 4 or 5 guys went down there. And so you're just there, your presence, right? So if anybody does get hurt, you can always call the guy putting on the organization. He gets in touch of Mike with the satellite phone, and then you go to wherever they are. And if they're really injured, then you would call in a helicopter, or you would do whatever you had to do to get them bandaged up and on their way.
Yeah.
So it's a little piece of mind for the riders, right? Because you do go to a lot of these events. There's a lot of older fellas there, right? A lot of guys are riding big bikes, so a lot of guys are worried about what happens if I lay this bike over. I've hurt myself, right? How am I going to get myself out of the situation that I'm in? So Moto Medic is just there to kind of promote these rides and these rallies,
right,
and then to put a little bit of peace of mind.
So have you ever done the Dust to Dawson gathering and supported them up there?
So I haven't done that, no, but a couple of years ago we did do we went to the Arctic Circle on the venture bike. So we made it all the way up to the Arctic Circle. We didn't make it all the way up to Tuktoyaktuk or to so we went up there in August, and I believe the road got opened up in September to Tuktoyaktuk. Right. So we had just missed the Dust to Dawn, but someday we will do that ride, yes.
The Dust to Dawson gathering is quite the gathering, because you get all these guys going out doing basically a poker run, and there's 2 different levels. Depends on the degree of skill level and how many gold mines you want to hit. Because that's the whole poker run, is you have to go from gold mine to gold mine to gold mine. So it's a very interesting event. And as an on-road rider, to go up there and watch all these crazies up there and see the smiles and all the dirty faces, and made me wish I was 30 years younger so that I could experience some of those things.
Yep.
Speaking of being 30 years younger, Fort McMurray is a pretty young motorcycling scene when it comes to the adventure rider. Not a lot of people up here even seem to know about the opportunities that await 20, 30 kilometers out of town. What are some of those opportunities?
Well, we have, like north there, we have the road to Erosta, sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. So, well, I'm not sure exactly what you want me to say about that, but like the riding to go north, like to get up to the Sand Road, is actually a lot farther than that. It's probably about an hour and 30 minutes north there. Mm-hmm. But we do have other riding north of town that would like along the highway. And if you've been up to Syncrude, all those hills up there, there's a lot of trails up there riding. So yeah, just a good variety of trail riding. You're following cut lines, that kind of stuff. But you do have to be very, very careful of the muskeg, because I've been stuck in muskeg a few times, and that's not very much fun. And yeah, so you have to stick to the beaten path and
right,
not venture too far off.
But yet the beaten path up here isn't all that beaten down either.
No, and when I mean the beaten path, I just mean that you have to kind of stay with the, where the road has been built up, and you're not going in the muskeg. And
right.
Yeah.
Right.
But up north where the sand starts, it's very good riding.
So the summer season is pretty much over, and we're entering into the fall season, and there's opportunity to ride up here, on the highway and stuff into mid-October, sometimes a little later if we get what they used to call Indian summer, right? So there's lots of time yet to still experience stuff if people wanted to come up here. What kind of equipment should they be bringing? What kind of tires should they be running to run so much sand?
Well, you can run a paddle tire on the rear of your adventure bike, or we just do a really aggressive off-road tires is what we usually just do.
Like a really good knobby.
Yeah, really good knobby tire, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, do you guys run any electric gear to keep warm, help keep your core?
Well, we do.
Here in the winter?
We actually do. I'm not sure if we talked about this yet, but the ice road that we do. So they've done that. I think four different years now. That's where. So the ice road gets built up to Fort Smith and Fort Chip to supply all the native communities up there in the wintertime. So they build an ice road over top of all the sand, right? So the water trucks are used to build the ice road. So to go on there, we actually use studded tires. So we stud up the tires and put those on the adventure bikes. We put heated hand grips on there. We usually have heated visors, heated helmets, that kind of stuff, heated socks, and then you're running your Skidoo suit.
Right.
Yeah. And we also have big shields that go over top of our hands, right? So we have heated hand grips. We have hippo hand warmers that go over top of your hand, insulated, and then we also have a giant loop wind deflector that is used to cut the wind as well too.
Yeah, because what would it be if you're riding in -20? That translates to what, about -50 on the bike?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Right, because you're doing what, 60, 80 kilometers an hour at that?
Yeah, about 60, 80 kilometers. So there's a couple spots where it opens up, you can go a little bit faster, but yeah, our average speed would be about 60, 80 kilometers. So
And how far can you go? It's about 300 kilometers, isn't it?
It is. It's a little farther than that. To go to Fort Smith, I think it's 500 and, don't quote me on that, 500 some kilometers to Fort Smith. So 2 years ago, we went all the way up to Fort Smith, and then last year we went up to Fort Chip. So Fort Chip is about 320 kilometers, 330 kilometers one way, and so we did that in one day. So we went up there and turned around and came back. And
so tell me, besides the fact that you want to challenge your skill level and your machine and your body and your smarts and all of that, what's at the other end? Is there at least good food?
Yeah, there is.
Are
There's good
people. Like, what do you experience when you go?
Well, you're going up there and you're going to see the culture, right? You're going up there to see the old native communities and stuff that the Lake Athabasca, right? That kind of stuff. And there's buffalo up there too, right? So myself was the first time ever being up there a couple years ago, and to see the communities up there that they're only fly in, fly out, right? So you can't get there in the summertime. Right, so they have to bring all their supplies, and they have to really plan and manage throughout the year. And yeah, it's very interesting. So
that would be interesting, because I never really thought about it from that perspective. If they're fly in, fly out in the summertime, and the ice road is really truly their only connection.
Yeah.
Alternatively, so do they do a lot of skidooing up there?
Yeah, a lot of skidooing up there, and well, that's their main mode of transportation up there. And but yeah, it was very, very interesting to see up there. I wasn't sure what to expect, and I thought it was very interesting.
So you've got hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of kind of a more consistent trail system. Then you have hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of ice roads, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of sand roads.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much an adventure rider's dream.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Isn't it?
Yep.
The only other thing I could think of that would make it more perfect would be more dry riverbeds to traverse.
Yeah. And the only thing to make it better would be the not having much muskeg up here, right?
Right.
So.
But I mean, the muskeg also offers you some other benefits, because the focus is now on adventure riding.
You may be from Alberta, but have you really seen Alberta? With its vast vistas and stunning locale, get acquainted with what Alberta has to offer by experiencing Alberta through the eyes of a tourist.
Yeah, it's good. It's like I rode a lot of motorcycles. Been riding motorcycles a lot of years of my life. Did on-road motorcycles for a lot of years, and then I didn't really lose interest in that. But I found that there's when you're riding a Harley down the road and you see a trail going up the side of this mountain, it's pretty interesting to see where that trail go, right? So with an adventure bike, it gives you that opportunity to just steer up that hill and go find out where that trail leads.
Yep. So. Exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons why adventure riding has become such an explosive force within the motorcycle community that even Harley has come out with the Pan American, and every purist that rides a KTM or any of the African Twins or any of those that have test ridden that bike are going, oh my. Mm-hmm. Very well done, Harley Davidson.
Yeah.
For a bike that's first year production, they're like, holy cow, well done.
Yeah.
So for a mark like Harley Davidson to recognize the adventure rider, it's kind of a feather in a cap to the sport, really.
It is. Yep.
And we do have a Harley dealer here that could be selling a lot more Pan Americans if we explain to a whole lot more people out there just exactly what this has to offer. So once you get off your motorcycle, let's say you're back here in Fort McMurray, what would you recommend the tourist go see, eat, do once they're done exploring the backcountry?
Well, we have a lot of different restaurants in town. One is a good one is actually on the Sny there, the restaurant on the Sny. It's a good spot to go to. We also have, I'm not sure if you've been out to Anzac yet, there's a Z-Bar out in Anzac, so that's kind of a hot spot for all the bikers. I think you said earlier today you're going out there tonight.
Yes, we're going out there tonight.
Yep.
We're going to go in and do a taste test and see if the ice cream at the Z-Bar is really as good as they say it is.
Yeah, well, actually, have really good food too. Yeah, really
know.
good food. So that's a couple places, and then just the other restaurants we have in town, right? The Earls, Canadian Brew Pub up north, that kind of stuff, right? So
all of the kind of traditional big box stores. Yep. But what about those little home? Like there's a little place I went to yesterday called Brewski's.
Brewski's, yep.
They make a wicked French onion soup.
Yep. Brewski's is another one. Another little pizza place in town called Hughes Pizza, which I'm not sure if it's a one-man shop that he runs there. I think he has another job on the side, it's a full-time job, and then he runs a pizza shop on the side. So that's right downtown. It's called Hughes Pizza. So it's not open every day, but when it is open, it's definitely worth checking out.
Well, see, and these are the things that only a local would know, right? And hence why the name of the show, Ride Like a Local, is, having gentlemen like yourself share some of those local flavors and just give people that, what do I expect?
Yeah.
Because it's so funny when some of our, and God love them, our American friends, but it's so funny, do you have a motorcycle shop up there?
Yeah, we have
right?
a few of them, yeah.
Well, but it's a valid concern when you're traveling is where are you going to get your baby looked after, right? And going to the Northwest Territories, going into the Yukon Territories, that can be pretty freaking challenging because there's only one motorcycle shop in Whitehorse. Yep. And there's only one motorcycle shop in Yellowknife.
Yes.
So if those guys don't have parts, you're waiting for a heck of a long time.
Yes, you are.
And again, fuel. That's the other thing. When you're riding adventure, do you go out and pre-plan some of your rides and drop fuel in places? Do you just carry a little jerry can with you to make sure?
Actually, we'll have a jerry can that I strap to the back of the bike that I have, a 4-gallon jerry can that goes in the back of the bike. And then if you are doing a longer one, like when we do the ice road, we have support trucks that come with us.
Right
and
on.
so we have fuel in the back. But yeah, if you are doing a long ride, it wouldn't be a bad idea to plan and drop some fuel somewhere.
Any other tidbits or little pieces of advice to the newbie coming up north to experience some of the sand up here? Is there specialty on bug dope they should know about? What little tricks will make the trip more enjoyable?
I would say just get out there and do it. right? Like I know it's very intimidating to new people to do. You're probably gonna wipe out, right? So like riding in the sand is definitely something that you know, it's gonna take a little bit of practice to figure out and learn how to do. But I would just 100% recommend just doing it, right? And get out there and do it. Definitely take your bug spray. Definitely be prepared for you know, things that could go wrong, right? So take your extra fuel, your extra parts, that kind of stuff, right? And battery charger, because you are a long ways from anything up there, right? So and definitely go with somebody else, right? So when we travel, we actually we use a DeLorme GPS unit, so if we ever do get in trouble, we can always text somebody and say, hey, you know, this is where we are, and this is, you know, send some support or something. But I would definitely go out there. I would definitely plan for it. Plan for the worst case scenario, right? Take some extra food with you in case you're, you know, something happens, you're spending the night or something like that.
Some MREs or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, and go with a group of people. Go with a group of people that have done it before and can, yeah.
Ride North Moto.
Yes.
Do you guys do tour guiding up here?
So
do self-guided tours? How do you help people discover your backyard?
So we actually last year we had a documentary was done, and a very good film documentary was done by Blake. Forget his last name right now, sorry, but and actually it was featured in the Toronto Film Festival last year. So that actually got a lot of traction. So and we're going to do that. So right now we have a plan to do that in January again this year. So we're going to do another ride in January. And then hopefully next year in September, we're hoping to have a rally up here. We're going to have an off-road motorcycle rally in September. It's kind of be like dusk to dawn, where you have to go do around get different GPS locations and say you were there. So yeah, and then Ride North Moto, one of our other big things that we want to do is we want to open up more trail systems in the area. So right now, with COVID, there's been a lot more people taking up ATV riding and off-road riding. And so I live right on the green belt over here, and so we see people riding every day with side-by-sides that go by my house all the time, right? So it doesn't bother me at all, but it bothers other people in the community, right? So the problem we have up here is that with all the muskeg, there's not very much riding area, right?
Right.
So part of Ride North Moto's plan is going to be is that any money that we do kind of make, we're going to try to put that back into building more trail systems, more infrastructure for off-road riding, and that kind of stuff too.
So are you working with the Alberta Off-Road Riders Association, Cove, and those guys?
Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
So anything else that you think that you could offer a rider that might entice them to come north?
I don't know, just when you're up there riding, just think about how many people have been up there riding before. You can maybe one of maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe a couple hundred people have done that before. So that should be a very good incentive to bring people out.